or visit Granny'sGotGuns.com to place your order today.
If I traded it all.
So welcome back, everyone. I got another newbie with me right now. I have with me Kristyn Muelenberg, and she is the owner of Muellenberg Law Office. Welcome to the show. You got to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do. Listen up, everyone, because you're mobile, and that's pretty cool. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Carol. Yes, so I am Kristyn. I am an attorney. I'm licensed in Arizona and in Michigan, and I specialize in estate planning.
So estate planning, but lots of different things I see here that we're going to talk a little bit about. You specialize in estate planning. What is the number one piece of paper that everybody has to get, should have, right, especially now, and also to have, why would they come have you do it with them?
Yeah, so the documents that everyone wants to have in place is either a will or a trust, and then power of attorney documents.
And what's the difference between a will and a trust?
So the biggest difference is whether or not you go through what is called the probate process, which is where your assets have to go through the courts in order to get transferred upon your death.
Okay, and now in terms of when you go mobile, how mobile are you?
I go anywhere in Maricopa County.
So anywhere, so valley-wide, and you could call her. When somebody calls you, what is the process? Obviously, you have to listen to what's going on with them, so you do free phone conversations with people?
Yeah, so I'll do an initial intake with them, and then typically we'll set up an appointment either in person or via Zoom or the phone to get some more information and talk about what documents would be right for them, and then we go over the pricing.
And you come right to them?
I will go right to them,
and
yes.
you to be their home, their office, wherever they need to be?
Correct, wherever they're comfortable.
So she's mobile, guys, and she's valley-wide. The number is 623-255-5136. Her website is Muellenberg.com, and it's spelled, I'm going to try and spell it right, Muellenberg.
Correct.
So you can check it out and check her out there. Most, I think that it's so great that you went mobile. Why did you choose to do that?
So initially I was going out on my own, and honestly, just the cost of overhead and not really knowing what my business was going to look like. I had another attorney who was mobile, and she gave me the idea, and so I started doing it. I work with a lot of retirees, and they love the fact that I will go directly to them.
I bet you they do, and we've got a lot of people that are older that listen to this station. We also have a lot of people that listen to us with they're out of, the state, and they don't have to come here. You can come to them, and they can probably talk to you over the phone. It probably makes it a lot easier.
It does,
right?
Yes.
And so let's go back to wills and trusts, okay? Does somebody need to have a lot of assets to have a trust?
No, it's a big misconception. No matter what amount of assets you have, a trust can be beneficial, especially if you have real estate, because it keeps it out of probate. And it also gives you a lot of control and flexibility over what happens with your assets after you pass away.
Well, a lot of people here own a lot more pieces of land, or homes, right? Can you help? Because they also always need attorneys, right?
Yes.
So can you help in that area?
Yes, and there are a lot of people here that own property out of state too. So if we create a trust here or even in a different state, it can cover all of the real estate that they own.
Again, she is what you call valley-wide. She comes to you, and her phone number is 623-255-5136, and she does free phone consultations with people, so you know how to figure out what's going on with them as well. So what is a financial power of attorney?
So a financial power of attorney covers you if you are living but you become disabled or incapacitated, allowing someone to step into your shoes and handle your finances. So think about if you're in a car accident in the hospital, somebody can step in and pay the bills, deal with insurance companies, sign any documents on your behalf, that sort of thing.
A lot of people don't think about that. They don't think about that they're going to die, right?
Correct.
So they have to make sure that you're covered. And today, I like to say this, a lot of people, you can't even call Amazon, without finding out who you are. And all you do is say yes anyway. So
right.
Really, I don't know how much that helps. But today, with all of the laws, everybody really needs to, especially when it comes to financial and all of that, to be covered and to make sure everything is done correctly. What about notarization? Do you help them with that as well, or not?
So I'm a notary, so I notarize all the documents.
So you see, she's a notary as well, which is really, really important, because then it's a one-stop shop.
Correct.
Okay, and so what about this? What is a financial power of attorney still valid after death?
No. So a financial power of attorney at death, it no longer has any power anymore, which a lot of people think they can utilize it after death, but that you cannot. As soon as you die, that document is no longer valid.
What comes into place then? Because you have to have something.
That's when, if you have a trust or a will, that comes into place.
Okay. Now, should somebody add others to their, let's say, bank account? What should they do with that?
No. So a lot of my clients say...
Everything I've ever done, she's telling us not to do.
Right.
Tell me about that.
So a lot of people want to add like their adult children to their bank account so that they have access to it, but that poses a lot of liability concerns, because let's say that whoever you added on gets sued because they're in a car accident, your bank account can be subject to that lawsuit now. So the better way to do that, to give them access, is through the financial power of attorney.
So you see, you'd be rolling over in your grave if you found out that whoever was on that bank account got into an accident and was sued. Now your money goes anyway.
Right.
Wow, it's really hard. You've got to really protect yourself.
You
I
do.
think that is what you're trying to say. For you, when you say that you, obviously you specialize, if that's the right word to say, in wills and trusts and all of that. But I think the bottom line is what you want everybody to make sure is that they are covered. Like me, I have to cover my own, you know what? You have to cover yours. Everybody does.
Yes, absolutely. And I try to, really do the whole package. And so I ask a lot of questions, get a lot of information to make sure we have all areas covered and that people's wishes are known and that those can be followed through with.
So again, she's mobile, so she comes to you. She's also a notary, so it's really a one-stop shop. What about if anything needs to be filed? Do you do that as well?
So I handle filing all the deeds.
Okay. And again, she does free phone consultation. She's valley-wide. Her phone number is 623-255-5136. It's Muellenberg Law Office.com. It's Muellenberg. Okay, so let's talk about this one. Are there estates or inheritance taxes that get taxed in Arizona?
No. So Arizona matches what the federal exemption rate is, which right now is right around $11 million per person. So unless you have over that amount, then there's no estate or inheritance tax that you have to worry about.
So what about, let's say somebody does all this with you, okay, and then they move out of state. Okay, what happens?
So the documents are still valid. Each state is a little bit different. For instance, in Arizona, when people come to me with out-of-state documents, the trusts are still valid. The wills, most of the time, are still valid. In Arizona, it's really the out-of-state power of attorney documents that we have to update and make them valid for Arizona. But trusts will cross state lines. Most states, the trust laws are very, very similar, and so you should be good. But it's always a good idea to have them reviewed just to make sure.
Do you do second opinions?
I do, yes.
Okay, so she also does second opinions. I also think that's really important for people to do. You know, it's like when you read a book more than one time, you see something, when somebody looks at it, they see something a little different than you might have seen it, right?
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I wanted to ask you when you are working with people, when is the right time? So some people always say, well, I don't have a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of money, so I really don't need to do this.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, everybody in every stage of life needs to have this done. And it's one of those things that the documents, as you go through different stages of life, you will update the documents. I have 2 young children. I have a trust in place to cover them because I don't want them to receive money as 18-year-olds. You know, I don't.
How do you know? They might be perfect.
They might be, but I don't think that's the case.
Well, it runs in the family.
Yeah. So really, people of all stages of life need to have these done. And then it's a good idea just to review them every 5 to 10 years, to pull out your documents, go over them, make sure everything is still accurate.
You know, when I listen to things, some things I say just make sense, right? And this is one of them. And I don't understand why people put their heads in the sand when it comes to this, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it because it can be a touchy subject, thinking about dying and what's going to happen with your assets. And so I try to make it as simple and easy as possible for my clients so that it's not a long, drawn-out process or anything like that. Just try to make it easy for them.
And, you know, I want to also differentiate something with the people that are listening. And I know some people may already know this, but when we talk about, I have had people who own funeral homes here on my show. That's a different kind of planning,
correct?
Right? So
yes.
It's not the same People need to understand that.
Right.
But this is something I think everybody should be made to do, because and they should make sure that they notarize everything.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you want to make sure you do all the documents correctly.
Right. And because if you don't, someone gets hurt. I've experienced that, and that's not really very fun. And if you only knew, it's really, when you're dead, you don't know anything, right?
Correct.
But if you only knew, like you said before earlier, if you knew that your money was being taken because you had that done wrong, you'd be pretty upset. And
Right.
most people would be. Unfortunately, when people pass away, a lot of bad things. But again, they don't have to pass away. They could be incapacitated.
Correct,
And
yeah,
that's
so
where
this-
these come in big time.
Absolutely. Yeah, the power of attorney really, everyone really needs to have those.
And if you have a child that's 18 years old on up, right?
Yep.
18 or even younger. Yours are younger.
Yeah, so mine are younger. So the benefit of like a trust when you have minor children is you control within the trust when they get access to their money if something should happen while they're still minors.
Well, as when we get older, we have older children. We don't know when something's going to happen. And obviously, if you get incapacitated, that's probably the worst thing. Not the worst thing. Death is obviously terrible. But being in the hospital and being like that, you need to make sure that everything is being taken care of the way you'd want them. It's your wishes as well. It's not-
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. And by having those power of attorney documents, it avoids someone having to go through the court system to get access to your accounts and everything.
She's valley-wide, and she's also a notary, so it's a one-stop shop. If you have things that she can also file for you, paperwork as well.
Correct.
She can do that as well. She comes to you. You could check her out on her website. It's MeulenbergLawOffice.com, so it's MEULENBERG. And real quickly, the difference between you and, let's say, a document preparer.
I am a licensed attorney. Yeah.
She's it. She's the one you want to talk to. So you give her a call. Her number is 623-255-5136. It's MeulenbergLawOffice.com.